I know it's going to be a 4-1 away win. Bang! Hello, everyone, and welcome to the NUFC 360 podcast. With me this week is Stephen, and that is it, because he can talk the back legs, hind legs. You can talk all four legs off a donkey. He can talk that much. So, Stephen, we haven't seen each other for a little while. We slapped up Birmingham, and I would say probably the match of the round. We had an absolute barnstormer there, which you guys covered very well. And it was brought to my attention that we are currently the only team in the Premier League that could actually mathematically win the domestic treble. Now, I'm going to carry that with not a fucking prayer, but for Newcastle fans, it's a very important thing to say because it's been such a long time. I think I saw a stat of it's been so many years since Newcastle are in the League Cup and still the FA Cup. Because
at this point in the year,
yeah, and it's one of those things where under Mike Ashley, we binned off cups, so deliberately losing cups to get relegated. It was a madness that we did. But is that testament to the owners, to Eddie Howe? Where's that coming from? And do you expect us to win both cups, for example? Because the league's obviously a nonsense. We're not winning that. But how does it show how far we've come?
It was a huge sign of how far we've come. It shows that we're actually taking them bloody seriously. I mean, we showed 2 years ago that we can we seem to be quite a bit of cup specialists to a degree in the League Cup. The FA Cup generally, apart from last year when we went to the quarterfinals again, lost to City. Eddie Howe's shown that he can manage a team in the cups, and particularly in knockout football. I mean, we've shown. I mean, particularly in the semi-finals against Arsenal and in previous seasons as well, we've shown that if we go into a one-off game, we can shut games down and we can stifle bigger teams. I think with the FA Cup, I mean, Liverpool went out to Plymouth, Chelsea went out to Brighton, Arsenal are out of it as well. All the big teams, barring I think City and Villa are in it still, are all the real big threats are gone. So I think there's no reason outside of potentially hampering, adding a few games to our schedule for the rest of the season or late on in the season. There's no reason to not throw everything at the latter stages of the FA Cup. We've got Brighton at home next, which is an eminently winnable game given the form they're in, and we owe them one for the league home visit where we lost them 1-0. I absolutely think both cups are definitely winnable, especially with City being the biggest club left, and they are about as beatable as they can be this season.
Yeah, I was going to say that the one team for the League Cup, the one team I didn't want was Liverpool, because my brother-in-law is a Liverpool fan, which is just personal. But just the team themselves, I think across the board, man for man, Liverpool have such an exciting attacking team and solid in defence, great midfield. That's why they're at the top of the table. But I really like our chances for the FA Cup. I saw a few people online saying, man, we need to bid off the FA Cup to then concentrate. No. Everyone knows the hierarchy of trophies goes, whatever your preference is, Champions League, Premier League, so people like each other, but they're the elites. Then it's your FA Cup. Then it is your Carabao Cup, your League Cup, your Milk Cup. Delicious. And we, as a fan base, I'll take anything. I'll take absolutely anything of all those trophies. Obviously, FA Cup being the best one we can go for. Very winnable. The fact that Man City are, I think most people will fear us the most, or if not equal most with us, City and Villa. The three. Either on any day, one of us could beat the other, which we have been doing in a merry-go-round of we slap them up, they slap them up, they slap us up. So very exciting, very, very exciting. It's great that we're doing this with, again, not spending crazy amounts of money. And there's more news coming out about City's thing coming out soon. So their court case and points thing will be out very soon. I was told sort of March sort of time. So that's coming towards its end, which may have implications for us. But with the final on its way, we can't go to Trafalgar Square, which is a bit sad. So we can't have the same scenes we had a few years ago for the League Cup final at Wembley. But apparently there's been some hoo-ha online about the ticket allocation, and people are apparently surprised that 26,000 tickets have been given to corporate seats. Now, I'm not surprised because this is what it is, and I'm not surprised. I mean, I'm happy with it, but I did say to you off camera that this is the price of having it called the Carabao Cup, because Carabao have paid for it, so they want to sell the tickets and get people there. They're interested in their brand and what they want to do with it. Do you think 26,000 is too much? What do you think people have the right to moan about it? Because without these sponsorships, then the football doesn't exist to that level.
I think a lot of this can be prefaced with the phrase "in an ideal world," because I'm always very vocal about my belief that football in an ideal world football clubs should be community assets. Football realistically is for fans.
Yes,
it's all about supporting your local team, and everyone has a chance to win a cup. And realistically, when you enter the competition, you have a chance of sorts, even if it's however small it might be. So yeah, I mean, you have a 90,000 seater national stadium. Ideally 45,000 for each club should be the ideal. Obviously, no one likes corporate sponsors in and of the fact that none of them are really fans of the teams playing.
Yeah,
I think another thing that will rub a lot of fans up the wrong way is the numbers that we do have will be whittled down further by club sponsors. I don't know if club sponsors also get allocated into the 26,000, or if club sponsors can come out of the club allocation. Yep. Then there's also tickets assigned to players and their families and their friends. So, I mean, there was that whole hubbub earlier this season. What was it? It was I think the third choice keeper for the women's team got in some trouble for selling on tickets that she was given. There'll be lots. So there'll be a few hundred, I'd imagine. Maybe a couple thousand for sponsors from the club. I'm not sure. We don't know what the numbers are. The fan base generally does seem still unhappy. It happens every year. No one, like you say at the start, no, it's not a surprise that this has happened. It's just that, you'll have season ticket holders who have one cup game on their record who will be given preference, which is another issue. The tiering, the pots that you get is another issue. But then we've seen Premier League clubs have issues with tickets for the last couple of seasons in terms of how they're allocated. Going back to my original point, in an ideal world, 45,000 for each team. Not surprised that 31,000 I think is the ticket total we're getting. I don't expect it'll affect the atmosphere at all, but it still should be higher in my opinion.
I mean, the one thing that gets me about it, and it is the one thing, is I don't really have a problem with the corporate seats. To say it's the way the world works. I understand the way the world works, and we say we don't live in an ideal world, but it's when it's like when there's that big strip in the middle of Wembley and it's empty, or you can see that it takes them like half an hour to come back to the sea after half time. I'm like, well, get people that actually give a shit. Like if like, for example, if I was a businessman and I sponsored it knowing I'd get my ticket in the final, I'd be there because I'm a fan of football. I'd make sure I'm there. And if it was my friend who's a Liverpool fan, my brother-in-law, I'm like, you can go instead of me. You're a fan. You go enjoy yourself, type thing. So that does bother me, but never mind. That's what
that's always a bother, and even at home games, not at neutral grounds. Like I can't stand it. It should be like theatre shows and the opera. When you can only go to the loo if you leave your seat while the game's being played, and if it's you have to get back to it within a certain boundary within doors before the second half starts or the half starts, or you're not allowed in. And it should be that should be what it does. I can't stand watching people. I've left a game early once, and I will never do it again. And it wasn't even a game. We were losing. We lost 2-0. It was not a good loss to Liverpool. But I hate it. I always do. People more interested in getting a pint than watching the football. Not for me.
Yeah, I don't get it. Get a pint whenever you want. Okay, so we look to the weekend, and normally I look at this fixture with utter dread. I remember little Argentinian bastards scoring 5 past us, and I remember getting slapped up for fun. We go to the Etihad, the soulless bowl that is half empty, full of spoilt Manchester City fans. for me, Man City are the world's most boring team to watch outside of Arsenal. They are a terrible team to watch. They are not good for football as a product, in my opinion. And they bore you to death with their slow build-up play, and it's just shite to watch. I've always, even though I hated Jurgen Klopp as a man from what I saw of him, he was a dick. But his football was great. I loved watching his football. Really good brand of football. I am, for the first time in years, thinking, we can fucking have him this time. Like we can give him a damn good go. I'm not going there with fear because I feel like we are going in as two heavyweights. They are still the favourites, but we've got, like Anthony Joshua versus Dubois. We have an Anthony Joshua punch in us. Now they might just smash us up like that happened in that boxing match. But I feel like we've got it in us now. The smarts in us now. A manager now. Form now to overcome Manchester City. Do you think it's the biggest chance we've had to win there in a long, long time?
Probably. Yeah. I mean, this is as weak as I've ever seen a Pep Guardiola team. I've never seen a Pep-led team be this bad. Oh. Yeah. I mean, this is the first time I think we've ever been this late on in a season and been better than them on underlying numbers. Oh, nice. We are currently the 5th best team. If you look at just expected goal difference, so
how long is that taking you? That is probably the longest we've gone without stats and numbers. I'm proud. I'm proud of you.
Yeah, because we're talking about things that don't really have stats to begin with, so that's the problem. I think we're on expected goal difference. We're 5th in the league. City are 6th, just below us, and then it's a bit of a drop. Then it's Fulham. Yeah, you look at the teams above us, the teams that you'd say probably have been better than us on paper this season in Bournemouth, Chelsea, Arsenal, and Liverpool. Although Arsenal outside of the cup, we've been better than them on, like I say, on underlying numbers. They've got, no matter what they do, no matter how threatening they are, they still have that underlying weakness of not having Rodri. That just renders them eminently beatable. And we have the best striker in the world on form right now. Who, their backline has been poor multiple times this season, Man City's, particularly when Stefan Ortega's been in goal. They've had a couple games where he's been really bad, but their backline as a whole has been poor, and no defensive midfielder worth their salt. I think this will be one of the first times this season where I think, our midfield should beat them, should be better than their midfield. Usually it's if we're perfect and on our day, and if they're a bit sloppy, then we can get one over them. But this game, like you say, this is a game that I'm also not afraid of them. I don't go into this thinking, this will be one of the standard 1-0 loss where they don't get out of first gear. I think we have a shot at winning, and I think it's a reasonable shot at winning as well.
We'll move on to. I would say that they're still. I don't know. Would you say was favourites? I would probably almost very close. Give them slight home advantage. I would probably say.
I'd still say they're solidly favourites because it's at home, favorites. And they are still a good side.
But say what's going to happen, because I am Phil Foden's. I'd say biggest critic. I'm the most realistic man when it comes to Phil Foden, who is the world's most overrated footballer. He's just overrated, mate. He's not. I've heard people say genius, Ballon d'Or. He's never ending. Not nowhere. He's nowhere near that standard.
Not that. No.
He's not like Joe Cole, who shits all over him. And I thought Joe Cole was meh in his day. So yeah. Anyway, what I'm saying to you is, because I've said this, he's going to score a hat trick against us, because all my friends know my opinion on him. I think he's a good player, but if he played in West Ham's team, he wouldn't do anything. He's a luxury player. He's a player that can only do it at the height. He's like Pep Guardiola, can only manage at the elite level, surrounded by elite players. That is my opinion of Phil Foden. Anyway, I thought I'd just jump in there and kick him in there. But for me, the one thing that I'm worried about are injuries. Now, there was rumours that, first of all, Gordon was injured at the Birmingham match. We had a very quick chat off camera, and we're both in kind of agreement that it could be a bit of Eddie shithousery, because he's done this before, saying players are injured. We're monitoring them. Do we think that Gordon's injured? I don't. I really hope he's not, because if he is, that's huge. But I think he's fit as a fiddle, and they've rested him on purpose because he puts a huge amount of effort into his matches.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think it is Eddie playing some mind games. I think he is saying what he needs to sort of put a little bit of doubt into Guardiola's preparations. I think the one I'd be more concerned about would be Sven Botman. who is being assessed for a knee issue, not on the one that he had an ACL injury on, so 2 ACL injuries on. So I'm not too concerned about that. Gordon, I think he had a bit of cramp and he was just rested.
Yep.
The other one that would be of any sort of concern would be Dan Burn.
Yes.
Because both he and Botman have been Botman was ruled out because they were resting his knee against Birmingham, and Burn went off injured against Birmingham. But there's also the idea that they were being cautious and bringing him off because they didn't want to risk him, which is fair.
Yep.
So, that was a groin injury. Eddie was quoted as saying, I think 3 days ago, that they were forced to take him off. Something was groin, fingers crossed, it's not too bad. And that's similar to what they said about Joe Linton, although Joe Linton's expected to be out for a few weeks, not necessarily just a few days.
Yeah, Joe Linton's going to be he would have been so ideal. He would have been the biggest man on the pitch against City, which is exactly what we need. Because he's my cult hero of the team, Emil Kraft. I think he's a wonderful utility player. I've said he's the Swedish Aaron Hughes. However, as much as I love him and he's plucky and he's great, he's not physically a centre-back. He's not a centre-back anyway, but physically he's not. And one thing that we know about Haaland is he's very clever at using his gigantism that he has. And I think and worry that if it's not Dan Burn, who I think will have a good game, or Botsvenman, I do worry that Haaland will target Emil Kraft, and he's smart enough to do that, and the team's good enough to target him constantly. So that's my worry, especially when we don't have the likes of Joe Linton, who is sensational at covering at the back. But having said all that, I think we've got one of the best form midfielders in the league. I think Tonali has been when I was slagging him off, when I was saying all the stuff like, why have we bought him? I don't get it. What's happening? He's meant to be amazing. The second, Eddie Howe went, oh, you know what? I'll put him in the right position. My God, he has been, for me, I've not seen a midfielder be that dominant since Rodri, to be honest. The way that he's always there in the balls there. He's got a lot of pace. He's the best. He can crack a ball from distance as well. He can hit a ball.
That 10 months working, the 10 months that the Athletic reported that he was working with a strength and speed coach to be, was it specifically to be more explosive and accelerate faster, decelerate faster, and change direction quicker. It's clearly paid dividends because he was quick. He wasn't that quick at Milan.
Rapid now.
He's for a midfielder, he is lightning.
Yep, he absolutely is. And I think Miley looks a little bit faster than he was as well. And he's young, so he can obviously get a bit more physical, but pace is harder to do. So if he can get into the same sort of shape as Tonali, that because he's very calm, he's already got the wide shoulders on him. It's just the physicality side of things. I think he would lack him, but looking like he can. Also thought he was a little bit disappointing against Birmingham, but that's by the by. Team then, who would you, obviously Dubravka in net because Nick Pope is dog shit. He can't kick a ball. Anyway, apart from him, who starts on the right for you in defence?
Against City, I think it would have to be Livramento. I think Tino's just their wingers are just too quick.
I think. Do we think?
I don't know if Doku will start. I'd expect so. He's going to have started there for the most part.
It's going to have to boil a bit, I think, because I thought he was sensational when he first joined, but he's getting Guardiola'd. Stop taking people on. Stop being good.
He's been made boring, as everyone does under Guardiola post Barcelona.
Yes.
I don't know what their expected lineup would be. I don't know what their injuries are at the moment. They've got obviously Rodri's out. Doku's expected to be fit for our game. He won't be fit for the game against Real Madrid, but he'll be fit for our game.
Yeah, they're in a squeeze of fixtures, aren't they? At the minute,
so they might rotate. But if Doku's not fit, because Guardiola said that he won't be fit for. Oh wait, no, he's expected back today, so he might be fit for the Real Madrid game. We'll see. Whoever starts against Real Madrid won't start against us, I'd expect. So if Doku starts against Madrid, you expect it to be Grealish probably.
Okay. Well, yeah, I agree. I think Tino will start. I think the centre backs are going to be whoever's available, and sending order of it'll be Shah, and then either Botman, Auburn, or Kraft. Let's hope it's not Kraft, as I say, for what we've mentioned there. Left back, Hall.
No, named itself.
Yeah, he's absolutely mint. He got the mark treatment of your shit, and now you're great. Speaking of Tonali, center midfield. Bruno, do you think we would play the flat three?
Yeah.
And who would you put there? Would you put Willock there?
I think this is a game. I think this is a game where I can see us being confident in midfield, and I think I would put Miley in to start.
Do you think Eddie would though?
No, I think he will probably go with. I think he'll most likely go with Willock if Gordon's fit.
Okay, good. Just not Sean. Just not Sean. It was rubbish against Birmingham as well.
You need Willock's. Willock had a decent game. I think some people suggested that his goals covered up his performance, which I think
he put himself about.
I think he had some really good runs. I would happily put Willock in.
Yep.
Against City if there's no Joelinton. I think Miley does still need to be coddled a bit.
Okay.
He looks good, but I'd be happy if he did start. I wouldn't mind it. But I think Willock's pressing off the ball is still really good, so I'd still take him over, especially over Longstaff.
Yeah, and then front three doesn't change, so we've got Isak, Gordon, fitness, and Murphy. And one thing on Murphy, I'm so happy that he is having this run of form because he's very much like Miggy. Always tries hard. In a football sense, a bit of an idiot sometimes. Like he had that game years ago, if you can remember, when he was through on goal against Watford, and he just chipped
the famous John Anderson. Oh, just put it in the net.
Yeah,
I think every Newcastle fan remembers that game.
I was livid. Him and Max had chances that day, but anyway, so nice to see someone who is a character around the club, a Newcastle fan. Doing so well. I'm really, really pleased for him. And Isak is just, I was worried about him when he had that injury and came back and he wasn't himself and he was clearly playing unfit, clearly playing with a knock. And he made Arsenal's defense look amateur, and all I hear about is how good they are. It's been great. It's been really, really good. I mean, what do you think the score is going to be if you're a betting man? What are we saying?
Against City.
I can see all the numbers scrolling down your face of the Matrix. their expected goals.
Obviously we were aware of the rules that I'm not allowed to give positive predictions because that always backfires. I think both teams will score. I think because whatever the shape our back line takes, I think they'll probably score a goal or two. I think this will be a 2-2 draw.
Oh. Well, I know it's going to be a 4-1 away win. Bang! Get up here. They're going to be far too confident. They've got an Uzbekistani child in their back line. Isak's going to have him for breakfast. It's going to be slaughter for all those years. My first day at uni, or one of my first days at uni, the big student rep was this dickhead, this absolute bellend Man City fan. And it was just when they'd been taken over. They just got Robinho in. And we played him, and they beat us, and he was such a knobhead. And that's just for you, man, who I can't remember the name of, you dick. I really hope we smash him. I'd just love to beat Man City, not because it's like they're the richest team and all that, just the way they play football. I just hate it.
It's annoying that style of football has become the most successful.
Well, I'm hoping it's going to change because Man City have been found out a little bit. Arsenal are getting found out a little bit. Liverpool are less rock and roll, but are still very much a front foot attacking team.
Yeah.
So
there was a Sky were pointing out, I think it was our game against Arsenal, that the trend in football at the moment is actually becoming more direct.
Yes, which is better for everyone. It's better for everyone. Everyone loves it. But it's an entertainment business, and I get the whole let's find a method that wins and use, like the Floyd Mayweather in his later years, like god awful to watch, but he won every match. So
I mean, it was just run away from the fight, even though you were allowed to fight, and you still win. And going, just harking back to Jacob Murphy for a moment. I'll give you a stat.
Here we go.
If you're looking at expected assisted goals, horizontal as underlying creativity,
expected assisted goals, yes.
Yeah, there are only 8 players in Europe's top 5 leagues who have contributed more expected assisted goals this season than Murphy.
Okay.
And some of the names in that list are Trent Alexander-Arnold, Lamine Yamal, Cole Palmer, Rafinha, Mo Salah, and a player you might not be as familiar with, but I am very familiar with, is Alex Baena, who plays for Villarreal in La Liga. Really creative midfielder. So he is in a top 10. Go on, sorry.
Jacob Murphy's just chilling with Mo Salah and Yamal and Trent and
some of the names below him are very funny. You know, Ousmane Dembele, who's having a really good season.
It's about time.
You know, Kevin De Bruyne, Florian Wirtz, Declan Rice, Bruno Fernandes, Bruno Guimaraes, Anthony Gordon, Antoine Griezmann, Pedri, all these, you know, Yuri Tielemans, all these other Morgan Rogers, all the hype he gets. Even though he's more of a goal scorer, he's still below Jacob Murphy.
I love that. So with that, what we're going to say is it's an Isak hat trick. It's going to be 4 assists from Jacob Murphy, and Emil Kraft will get the 4th goal.
He'll do a Paul Dummett. He'll do a Paul Dummett and just rocket it into the top.
I remember what that was a banging goal. Oh, well, I've enjoyed our chat. I like the smaller chats. It's been a good fun. But if you made it this far, like, share, and subscribe. Comment below your lineups, predictions. Are we going to win the FA Cup? Should we have more tickets? Put all the comments in there. Am I too bald? Let me know your thoughts. And until next time, guys, take care.